Welcome back, everybody, to the Star Wars podcast, where we talk all things Marvel and Star Wars. Please take a moment to check our show notes to find our social media, merch, and more. Today, we are recapping Tales of the Jedi, specifically the Dooku episodes, in full spoiler detail, so if you haven't seen the episode, I would get out of here. And I'm here with my favorite Yaddle supporter. It's Tommy Pizzullo. Tommy, how are you?
Justice for Yaddle! Hey, I am good, and because I am starting a movement, Michael. I'm going to clean up these podcasting streets because I thought podcasters were all, doing the righteous thing, but they're just puppets to the giant podcast Senate. We got to tear them down, Michael.
Yeah. Hear that. Speaking of podcasters, here's the thing. I got called out. I know Latanya was on with me for Andor. Latanya called me out. Latanya said, because, typically when I have a guest on, I have them introduce themselves. And Latanya said that maybe I should consider introducing the guests for them. What do you think about that? Should I do that?
Like give titles like Daenerys, just like the full.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do have a guest today, and I have the titles prepared. I'd like to introduce you guys to notable family man, wedding DJ, co-host of the New Dad, Newer Dad podcast, as well as the How You Doing podcast. It is one of our great Star Wars correspondents, Eric Smith. Eric, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
How was that intro? Did I do okay?
That was great. Like everything that just happened was so much more energy than anything in these episodes.
Yeah, I like it, but now I'm gonna have to request it every time I come, but a different title each time. Like I want a full intro.
Tommy needs his own every time and a different thing.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm gonna pause for a second. Eric, you are a little loud. Is there any way you can turn it down a little bit?
I can go down.
I think that might be what is going on.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better?
A little more. That's definitely better.
That. Sorry, it's my my wedding DJ thing because I'm always like this when I wedding.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, you sound great now. That fixed it. Right. So, Eric, I want to throw it back to you though. You've made a comment here. No energy in these episodes. What have you thought? Tales of the Jedi as a whole, but in the Dooku episode specifically.
I don't know, Michael. You did a live a while back, and I made like one comment. I was like, "Where's the fun Star Wars?" And it's just like it's fine, And I've always been any Star Wars is good Star Wars, and maybe I was lying to myself. I was just like, I don't know. It's a little meh for me.
Okay, interesting. Because here's the thing, especially, the 3 episodes we're going to talk about here, I saw a lot of people on Instagram doing ooh, would you like the Ahsoka or the Dooku more? Everyone loves the Dooku episodes compared to the Ahsoka ones. This is the big one when it comes to Tales of the Jedi. Tommy, over to you. First and foremost, Ahsoka or Dooku, and also overall, what do you think of Dooku?
I think I have to go on the Dooku side, and I think it comes down to it's a story we know less on. Ahsoka, especially if you watch the anime show, you know a lot of that, and it was good, but I didn't feel like I learned anything that new. As opposed to I think with Dooku, at least for me, not having as much knowledge on the Dooku story and how. I didn't even know that it happened during, while Anakin and all that stuff. I thought Count Dooku already turned long ago. So that's how much I didn't know. And overall, I like the tales for what they are, which is I just kind of treated them like shorts, little extra shorts that kind of boosted some things that I've seen. I think the Ahsoka episode, there was one that kind of boosted one of the episodes in the animated Clone Wars and kind of that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think for me, it's if you want it, it's there. But I think I'm with Eric where it didn't blow my socks off. My Star Wars socks are still on. They missed the whole, what's Luke couldn't shoot the missile down the like a wombat, whatever the saying, classic Star Wars saying.
Star Wars. Insert Star Wars words. Um, uh, well, okay, guys. I think I'm definitely the highest on this, and I'm highest on, like, not to get too off track here, but like I think we're kind of in an interesting place with Star Wars, especially with Andor. And I kind of get what you're coming, especially with Andor. I get what you're coming from, with like a little bit of lack of fun. But I also feel like we're in these TV shows, and it's time to experiment a little bit, right? It's not like the movies we're stapling into like the franchise. It's something where just like let's test out this genre. And I think that's something I really like about this. It is very dark. I tend to like darker things, so maybe that's on me. What say you about that, Eric? Am I out of line here?
No, I mean, it's good. I feel like maybe like as a whole, like Star Wars and Disney, like maybe this is their strategy, right? It's like people were complaining about the Mandalorian, like every time there's like, oh, a mission, do this, like with that format. So now they're like, okay, let's give them a whole bunch of this other like format that's just like telling a slow story, and it's just going to make us want the Mandalorian to come back that much more.
I hear you. I hear you there. I mean, as much as I love both of these shows, I still would really love Mando in my life right now. But let's. Oh, Tommy, don't do the hand wiggle. Whatever.
You already got Mando, Michael. You already got this. You already got the new season. Don't you remember the Book of Mando? It was so good. We all loved it.
Yeah. Great series, Book of Mando. All right, let's dive into episode 1 here. Episode or kind of weird. We talked about before how they broke this stuff up. It's technically episode 2.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah. What do you think about this?
So when I turned on my Disney Plus and I was going to watch these, I'm like, oh, cool. It's going to be like three of one person and the 3 of the next person. And I turn it on and it's an Ahsoka. And then there's 3 Dooku in a row. And then 2 more. So, like, what was even the point? Like, I don't understand who was in charge of this.
And Tommy, we had this conversation briefly earlier, and I think I lied to you. My thought was they actually released the episodes in chronological order. But thinking about it, I don't even think that makes sense. I believe Ahsoka would have been born after
the first
Phantom Menace. Yeah. So I don't know. I have no idea why they did it this way. That's what
I will say, so the reason this got brought up between me and Michael is because I, was not able to be on the podcast for the Ahsoka stuff. I actually just watched it today, all of them back to back in the order on the Disney Plus. It kind of worked for me in the sense that you get Ahsoka, it's like, okay, there's hope. And then it's like, this is what she's, being born into the Jedi. She's going to join the Jedi. And then it's 3 episodes of Dooku that kind of sets up the corruption in the Jedi. And then we see Ahsoka with the corruption in the last 2. And so it kind of worked for me on a story level. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it was kind of like, here's this new baby born Jedi, bright-eyed. And then let's see another version of a Jedi who's corrupt. And then let's see that, what happened once that bright-eyed girl saw some of the dark side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, truth be told, I've watched it in an even weirder way. Because I was gonna watch all the Ahsoka episodes first. Like that's just we were podcasting. I was gonna watch this first, so I watched 1, then 5, and then I said, "Oh no, these might tie together." So then I watched 2, 3, and then I finished off with the final Ahsoka one. So I think everybody watches this differently. I think that's the point we're getting at here.
Do you think that's the point? You could just start at any point and it's a full circle. Star Wars is a circle. You could start anywhere. Just close your eyes, pick an episode. It's a journey.
Yeah. Okay, let's dive
way in a flat circle.
Yeah. Let's dive into episode 2, Justice. And actually, I'm going to do this how I did it for the last one. I'm just going to basically tell you the plot of the episode, and then we can talk about it as a whole. So Dooku and Qui-Gon are going to solve a problem. The senator's son has been kidnapped by this town. But they go in there, they find out that it's actually the entire town that had kidnapped him. They go get the son. He's like in a barn or whatever. And the son is like, yeah, they're actually pretty nice. And my dad's an asshole. So, they end up, the senator's men come and there's basically a standoff and then a shootout. Dooku ends up getting rageful and chokes the senator. Qui-Gon, really smart move here. He goes to get the son to convince Dooku not to kill his father. And I thought that was really fun. But that is basically the gist of the episode. Very short here. This was one I really liked a lot. I thought this was interesting to get like, you know, even no beard Duke. Like the other ones, at least he had a beard. And as well as Qui-Gon, seeing Qui-Gon, it's, you know, a couple weird choices there in terms of like, Liam Neeson actually came back to voice Qui-Gon in the last Dooku episode, but his son voiced him in this episode. And I was like, I don't know, you could have, I think Liam Neeson could have done both. But I'll throw it to you guys. What did you guys think of this episode?
I mean, I've never taken less notes on something that I've watched before.
Yeah, I just read all of my notes, so yeah, I'm with you.
I wrote the barn doors open automatically like they're on a ship somehow.
It's Star Wars.
I wrote down 2-ton, of course. He was probably the highlight.
Oh, yeah,
and then how is the kid at the end? The kid promises to end their suffering. How is this kid going to do that?
Yeah, and even Dooku and Windu have the conversation after, like, I wonder if anything's going to change. Like, I don't know. You know, it's like,
see you later.
He's just a kid. So, Tommy, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it like established something, but it's like you said, Eric, we don't see the results later. Like we don't see did the kid actually do something. I guess the lesson is like no, like it's like it's to show there was even corruption back then. I think it's almost to give the villains give you the side of the Sith of like, yeah, everyone looks at the Empire, it's bad, everyone's being neglected. It was kind of still happening when the Senate was in charge too. Like it's like everyone's bad. Like it's like there's corruption everywhere, and I think that's kind of what they're getting across. Is like Dooku's coming from a good place, even though we see later and we know where his story goes. And so I like that element. I liked the story. I thought it was crisp. I'll take these small little pockets. They're almost like little chocolate covered almonds, little snacks. Because like I'm so sick of Star Wars where they bit off too much than they can chew. Some of these stories, like Book of Boba Fett, is a great example of like they just dive their toe into everything. That at least with this, I felt like it was a very concrete storyline.
Yeah, I really like how they kind of played around with like the morals in this episode, and I think that's like nothing is really black and white here from any choice that anybody makes. You know, Dooku, from his perspective, when he's choking this man, he feels like he's protecting a young boy. The boy is kind of like, yeah, I don't have to go with you. Like, I kind of agree with the town. The town is like, they're like, this was like our only thing we could do. And it's like, yes, you're technically doing something bad, but for a good reason. And it's like everybody has like this gray area to them. And I think that's something I really appreciate in Star Wars. I think that's like some of the greatest characters are like that. You know, like Han Solo. There's a lot of gray to that man. So I don't know. Eric, are we selling you on this at all?
No, not really. Is it the second episode is like the same? It's I don't know. I'm my biggest problem with the whole Dooku arch is that we don't see like where he's at in the process of like the anger taking over and the dark side. That they like that just seems like something that we should get if it's a story about Dooku. Like I don't want to like the Emperor shows up, you know, spoiler alert in the last episode. But where did that process start? Like we know all about it from Anakin. I want to know it from Dooku. I thought that that's something that we were going to see.
And I think this is something that it's there. It's barely there, but it's there. I feel like there's a line in this episode. He says, I don't serve the Senate. I serve the people of the Republic. And I think that very much lays out a lot of the choices he makes throughout all of these episodes where he's not really concerned about, you know, the policies, the rules, the way you have to do things. He's like, if I have the opportunity to help someone right now, I'm going to do it and nobody's going to stop me. So from his perspective, he was defending this town. And the next episode, he's trying to figure out, because he clearly senses something horrible happened. You know, it's like, and there's all these hurdles in the way. Even Windu the whole time, he's like, I know we're kind of jumping in the second episode, but he's trying to like slow him down. He's like, you know, let's at least go talk to the Senate, talk to the council about this before we get too rash. And he's like, no, but like, like these people are going to get away with something very horrible if we don't check it out and investigate. And I think all of this leads up to his ultimate decision. I think the biggest jump is between his second episode and third episode. There's a lot there that's a little weird, but I get why he did it.
Yeah, Michael, I agree. I think one is setting up that he cares about the people and he feels like the people. Two is setting up a little bit too of. I also think the reason he goes to this is because of jealousy. You know, he's being passed over for the count. These, you know, they put those seeds in there, and it's like 1, 2, but then they want us to get to 3. And I'm with Eric in the sense that I just need that scene of him approaching Pop. How that happened. Like I just want that, and I think it's a solid arc.
I think he got in his ear, like, you know, why he's angry in the second episode. Like clearly they've already been talking or something. I just want, like, just give me like him talking on like a little hologram to the Emperor or something. Give me something.
And I think they wanted that. I think the reason they didn't is in the third, they want that moment of like, oh no, he's already fallen, because you think maybe he's like teetering still in that third, and then it's like no, he's fully broken bad. But I agree. I think that's the one thing I could have done there. But I do think like the seeds are there. I can pick up on little things from each episode that they're setting up his discontent in multiple different avenues, not just like, oh, it's corrupt Jedi, but also there is jealousy. I think he wants that seat on the council, just like Anakin, you know, just mirror to a certain, you know, other Sith that goes over for similar reasons.
Yeah. And again, like, I feel like there's like a whole fourth, or, you know, there's an episode in the middle here missing. I feel like it would have been a good episode. Like, how did he even meet Sidious? Like, is there like a Force user Tinder where they're like, you know, swiping through, and then he like swipes on Sidious and they're like buddies now? You know, it's like there is a lot there that there's a big leap. So, well, let's go ahead and jump over to the second episode here, because we're already kind of talking about it. But the episode is titled Choices, and this is where we get Mace Windu and Dooku. They're going to retrieve the body of Master Katri. Katri was killed on this planet. Dooku's very suspicious about it. He's like, well, how'd the senator get away if Katri's dead? But so they go down here, and Dooku's basically like, he's down to investigate. Windu's ready to just go back. He's following the rules. He's just getting the body and out. Dooku's like, no, I want to go to the location this happened. I want to look into it. So they end up taking him there. And Dooku rightfully suspects something happened here, and he calls him out. There's no blaster bolts on the ship. Like, what's going on? There wasn't actually a fight here. So somebody was just executed. And then the senator rats out the guards. And the senator gets shot. The guards fight. They kill. I don't know if they killed them or incapacitated them or whatever, but Dooku does end up killing one of them at the end. That kind of like worries Windu there. But they end up getting the body. They go back, and we find out Windu is replacing Master Kachi's spot on the council, which again we kind of touched on. This is probably another reason why he decided to do it. But even Windu kind of sets it up. He's like, hey, I was down there playing ball, going by the rules, and I'm now on the council. If you would have done the same, it could have been you. So I really like this dynamic between the two. Eric, did anything more for you from this episode, or is it just more of the same? I guess it is very similar.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really similar to the first episode, which is, you know, part of my frustration. It's like you could tell a different story and get the same point across. I don't know. I mean, the last episode is definitely my favorite one, but yeah, this was just kind of. I mean, it's all kind of iffy.
Tommy, what do you think of seeing Windu back? I know you're big on Yaddle. You can't wait to talk about Yaddle, but
you're right. I'm literally looking at a photo of her. That's all on one corner. Well, like it's a point, but it happens to be on the photo of her. But yeah, I'm a big Windu. I mean, I think I've told this. No, I didn't. Did I ever tell that story? Because I think I messaged you separately afterwards, because I forgot to tell the story of how I'm a big Mace Windu fan. Because as a kid, do you remember the 3D Doritos? Now they're back. But when they first came out, they gave holographic Star Wars. And the first one I got, the only one I got, was Mace Windu. And so I said, he's my favorite Jedi from that moment on.
Eric, you know about the Dorito?
I know about those way too much. There was a little store on the way to my grade school that we'd walk past, and we'd go and buy Doritos literally every morning. And I think I had pretty much all of the holograms.
Yeah, it was a real obsession of mine. But so big spot for Windu there. And I liked seeing, I also think what's interesting about this episode in general, they showed a lot of gray Jedi and Mace we talked about in the past kind of being gray, Qui-Gon being a gray Jedi where it's like he can, finagle those rules if he needs to. I think that's interesting because I think like there's a lot of people that like, we see with Yaddle like that kind of agree with some of Dooku. Like Dooku had points, but he tried to go the easy way, which is joining the dark side. It's like, you can only fix it from the inside. But I think with showing their dynamic, I like that they were friends. And I think like I think everything with what I like about this is I think it's building off the last episode, very similar. And I do agree that they could have told you could have got the same lessons doing a different story arc instead of doing the same story, but just teaching a different lesson from it,
Yeah, here's my take. I don't like Windu. I'm out on Windu. This is like, I don't even think I liked with Windu that much to begin with, but now he really is like goody two shoes, man. I'm like,
I tell a whole story about how he's my favorite, and you just, Michael.
What? All he does, he's just like being a buzzkill the whole time. Like, hey, let's stop doing like he's trying to keep the episode at like 5 minutes, and Duke is like, come on, there's more story to tell here. So yeah, I don't know. He was just kind of a pest.
What was at the end of it? Windu was like, he was talking about their time on the planet and how if Dooku hadn't done like a certain thing or like been out of line, what did he do that was out of line like in that moment?
Well, first and foremost, he wanted to like go rogue and like investigate things. That was number one. And even Windu was like, no, this is not cool. But he ended up doing it with him. I think the final thing was he ended up killing one of the people. It wasn't really his fault though, because he was like blocking a blaster bolt and he shot it back at him.
Windu killed the guy.
It was the senator going down, basically him confronting the Senate. Like what they were supposed to do is even get the intel that the senator did it, then go back, let the Jedi decide how they were going to handle it. And by just jumping into the conflict like Dooku did, it caused one of the senators to die, even though he was a corrupt senator. But
just by turning around and saying like, "Oh, something else happened here," like, how were you supposed to know that what was going on and the center was going to react the way he did? Like, don't put that on Dooku.
It's a little Monday night quarterback from Windu. Like, you know what? After we've seen the results of this,
and also Mace, you killed a guy. Like you killed one of those guys with your deflecting of the blaster.
Very results oriented. But no, he does specifically say that his actions resulted in the death of somebody, which, again, I guess that's depends on how you want to cut the cake there. But Dooku is right. He stopped bad guys, but then again, it's like I think that's the fun thing about like the morals of these episodes, and especially these first two, is like are these rebels the bad guys? Because we see all these people that are like oppressed and beaten down and like their planet's failing, and then they take action to do it, which, hey, guess what, that's basically the original trilogy, guys. So are these guys actually the bad guys? I don't know. I think that's the question that we don't even typically get from Star Wars a lot. Even with Andor now, they're like doubling down that the Empire, like a lot of people, if you just watch the original trilogy, like can like come up with a defense for the Empire, but like they're getting to the point where there's no defending the Empire. For once, I feel like in this show, there's good and bad on both sides, and we don't see that a whole lot in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my rant on choices here. I feel like we probably have the most to say about this last one. So are y'all ready to dive into that? Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I will set it up. So we open on Dooku, who is deleting the information about Kamino. We also find out very quickly, we start to realize this is happening. This whole episode is side by side with Phantom Menace because Qui-Gon mentions that he encountered a Sith. Nobody is taking him seriously. Dooku doesn't like that. He believes him. So we kind of jump a little bit to, I guess, post Phantom Menace, because Qui-Gon's now dead. Dooku is staring at a tree. He's very mad. The choices of the council and the fact that they ignored his warning about the Sith resulted in his death. So Dooku is going to fly off to meet with Sidious, and Yaddle ends up following him, and this is when they Yaddle tries to bring Dooku back a little bit. It's not going to happen. He's too far gone, and he ends up killing Yaddle. I thought this was awesome. I thought this was one of my favorite episodes. I really like Yaddle as a character. I don't know if Yaddle's in books or anything. I don't know canonically where Yaddle stands, but it was just so cool finally like seeing more from that character. Like I didn't know how Yaddle died. I don't know if anybody knew. And I think it's really cool how they kind of closed that book and also opened the book for Dooku. So what did you guys think of this one?
For me, big Yaddle fan. It's been an inside joke in my friend group for years of like, we want Yaddle back because it's just is like deformed Yoda puppet with a wig. Like it was so funny to us, and I loved having Yaddle on my screen. Do you know who voiced Yaddle, Michael?
Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard, right?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Very exciting, and I loved her relationship with Dooku. Like she was kind of a friend too, and like that made it even more brutal how it went down, and how she's like, "You have points. Like you're right. Qui-Gon could have been like we can fix this," and he just is not listening. Love the Yaddle stuff, and then the other thing I want to talk about, and we can jump back to Yaddle because there you might have thoughts, is the great tree. We saw the great tree back. Yoda used to sit in front of this in the Clone Wars, and now we see a mirror of that with Dooku, and I thought that was a really nice moment.
Yaddle talks normal. Eric, what do you think about that? I didn't know this. I think this was a question like with Grogu and everything. They're like, well, when Grogu grows up, is he going to speak like Yoda? We don't know where that came from, but there have been interviews, I guess, that people said that Yoda's dialect was more so about his upbringing and his master and some other stuff we don't quite know about. But yeah, I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about that, Eric? It was very jarring to me.
I didn't even cross my mind. I for some reason I was just like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, she's talking. I didn't even cross my mind that she should be talking like Yoda for a second.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Tommy? Just
I'm with it. I didn't even realize until you just told me. I'm like, I just accepted it, and I'm like, wait a second. Do you think Yoda's just playing a fast one on people? Do you think he can talk normally and he's just like talking in riddles because that's his vibe, like that's his thing? Or like just one day he would be like, "Yo, hey, it's Yoda. What's up? Let's go get a hoagie over at the cafeteria." And that's really how he talks. And he's just been pretending this whole time.
He's like a poser hippie, like just saying all the right things. I mean, sooner or later, like everybody around Yoda speaks normally, and he's like 500 years old. So you'd think after a while,
his accent.
Yeah, you think it's just you start to blend a little bit. Maybe here's my thought. Maybe this is his blended version, and the way he talked before was way worse. Like he's just like it's just like a scrambled sentence. Like,
I think it's to catch his enemies off guard, Michael, because they're still gonna be thinking. They're like, "Wait, what did he?" Let me translate this in my mind. And by the time they translate it, he's already in front of them, stabbing him in the chest.
To ask Dooku about that.
Yeah.
So the death of Yaddle, Tommy. Do you have any final words on Yaddle? I mean, very brutal, very sad scene. Man,
you want to see more for getting murdered?
Well, no, not of the murder, more of Yaddle. They did this with another character in Book of Boba Fett. Like, don't bring these characters back if you're just gonna kill them. Like, it's almost like fan service for the sake, but it's fine because I think with this one, it's like it feels justified. But
yeah, it was such like a side, like funny character that was just like a meme, and now they made her real.
Yeah.
So this actually does something else that's very interesting. So number one, Yaddle is this like obscure character, and Yaddle kind of disappears. Nobody knows why. I think they just regretted having a second Yoda is the truth of it. But it's interesting. They bring back Yaddle. They close out Yaddle's story. But I thought this actually closed up an interesting plot hole that people complained about in the past, where when Ahsoka meets Grogu, Ahsoka says, "I've only met one of your kind before," and so many people were like, "What about Yaddle?" It kind of solves that plot hole. Yaddle was dead before Ahsoka came along. So, I don't know. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, Tommy. You have more Yaddle stuff. I was gonna talk about my biggest problem with this episode.
Oh please.
I had to watch this like 3 times to get everything. Like the first time going through, it never dawned on me that it was happening, like coinciding with the Phantom Menace. Could they have been more vague about Qui-Gon dying? So they have this scene where they talk to Qui-Gon, he gets on the elevator, whatever, and they cut from that scene directly to this big tree, and then they don't even mention that Qui-Gon has died until the like last couple lines of that thing where she says like Qui-Gon's gone. Like I had no idea what happened or where this was in the timeline, and I'm sitting there like I literally had to watch that scene 3 times. Like, what did I miss here? Because then he goes and he starts yelling at the Emperor about killing Qui-Gon and Darth Maul and all that.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying there. Because you're right, they do say it, but it's like I think the scene would have been a lot more meaningful, knowing that from the beginning rather than the end.
Yeah.
They make a couple weird choices like this throughout these episodes. Like in the first episode, I think that they didn't want us to know that was Qui-Gon. Number one, the voice actors is different.
They didn't
Number
say
two,
it until the end.
yeah, they saved the name till the end. It's like, but everybody, like, I don't know. Who are you fooling here?
And
he looks like a young Liam Neeson. What are you trying to hide?
From Kroll. Yeah, and
Qui-Gon.
I think that's I think that must be the writing, whoever wrote or directed this, because like you're right. In every episode, they kind of had that thing where it's like we kind of know, but they're not going to say it until the end. Like we kind of think he's a Sith because he's deleting those things, but no, he's fully gone. We missed the train, And with the Qui-Gon, it's like I think that was their thing. I think they were trying to go for like the show not tell. But if people are confused, and it's probably not worth the show not tell. Like it's like because I think they was like the tree before he left, and then it cut to after, and he's looking at the tree, and I think they mentioned like we're gonna go to the funeral on Tatooine or wherever it was. They're gonna do it in Naboo, and that's like the only line. So if you miss that, it's like okay, what are we doing here?
Eric, would you have taken, or would you take even now, more episodes on Dooku or a longer series on Dooku?
Yeah, I definitely would have taken more on Dooku. Here's another issue I have with the whole thing. Like that we're getting an Ahsoka show, right?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Like, couldn't we have done this in like flashbacks and stuff? Like, why did we need her story told this way? Like, there's so many other characters in this universe, and you're already committing to a live action TV show with this character.
Yeah, I think this show, because it serves the Dooku stuff very well, in that we're learning things about characters that we weren't sure of, how things went down, when they went down, and who died. Like, I felt like it was adding a lot. The Ahsoka stuff didn't add anything at all, really. It gave us some context to things.
And if we get a flashback in the Ahsoka series of her, like, as a baby, like, how angry are you going to be?
Yeah, I've already watched
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think with Dooku, I could have done a full live action series, and I actually am kind of upset that they've told the story in this way because I like watching it and I did enjoy this version. I could have done a full like 12 episodes season 1, make it like Breaking Bad meets Star Wars. You have a character, have a Jedi from the inside, and see him break to the Sith, and like in a better way than they did in the prequels, and really let that build, give that character, give reasons, and almost make us want to be on Dooku's side, and then see that he's just a puppet to the Emperor the whole, and it ends with, man, you worked all this way to be something, and you're just at the bottom of another organization. Oh, it'd be great.
They gave us info, but they didn't give us like important info.
Yeah, I think the deal, and take notes for Tales of the Jedi Season 2, Disney, since you're listening. This series works very well when we're exploring characters we don't know that well. Imagine if we had gotten Kai Mundi or Jacques T or one of these other like background Jedis that we don't, or it's called Tales of the Jedi, not Tales of the prequels. You could even go to the High Republic. You could go after Rise of the Skywalker, explore Finn, like actually trying to become a Jedi. Like there's so much you can do here. And I don't know, the choice of Ahsoka was weird to me.
Yeah, I'm waiting. This is something I thought of years ago, and I like Dave Filoni needs to be pitched on like Tales of the Rebellion or something. Like, I just want a young Akbar story. I want to know where Akbar came from. Like, he's got to be kind of badass. He's a friggin' admiral, so
I
I want to
mean,
know Akbar's beginning story.
honestly, that's where it's at. Just do stories on the secondary characters. We
Yeah.
already have so many movies and TV shows on the main cast, the main Jedi. Do it on the other people. Like comic books do it all the time. Like Tom King is a notorious comic book writer who honestly takes he likes writing the characters that people know the least about because he has more ability. There's not someone fact checking him every 2 seconds like he did Visions or Vision when before Vision became popular, and he did Mr. Miracle for DC, and obviously the Batman series, but that was different. But it's like that's what we need to do with this. Focus on characters, build out a world we don't know because you keep redoing the world we do know. It's just that's my problem with Star Wars. I've said this to Michael before. Marvel keeps moving forward, and Star Wars just it's the same timeline, just rinse and repeat different from a different perspective. And it's like at a certain point, we need to go somewhere else. We need to venture away.
I want to like just close on a positive statement from me at least.
I have one positive statement about Dooku.
Okay, I'll let. Yes, I just want to say I did really really enjoy this, and I would take this over not having it any day. I thought that the visuals of this show were every single time this animation team comes back. It's even better. You know, the original Clone Wars was fine. They came back for the final season of Clone Wars. It was like so beautiful, and then somehow they still topped it. I also want to shout out the voice acting in this. I thought Dooku, the rendition of Christopher Lee was absolutely incredible. They got Liam Neeson back, Bryce Dallas Howard, like you mentioned. Like, it is like a lovely group of people that put this together. And I do think my biggest complaint is I needed more, which actually a lot of my complaint is I need less, guys. Slow down. So I think I would rather have that complaint than something else. So Eric, I'll throw it to you. You got a positive something.
Yeah, I mean, I would like more of Dooku. Like, I want to see more of the story. I want to know where those seeds of anger came from. We just didn't get it. I'd rather have 6 episodes of Dooku and no Ahsoka. But I mean, Tommy's idea is fantastic for a Breaking Bad like type deal. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But like my favorite thing about Dooku, I think we can all agree, and maybe we can have an argument about this. Dooku has the most badass lightsaber hilt of anybody, right?
I had the toy lightsaber as a kid, and this like was my favorite thing. I brought it to school and fought people on the playground with my Dooku lightsaber. And even now, I still want like a recreation. I don't know if they have that at Galaxy's Edge or some one of these sites will make one, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
I need my curved hilt lightsaber even as an adult.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like that's a number one in the lightsaber draft.
Yeah. Pretty short podcast here, guys. But Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Let me ask, real quick. You're feeling the same way about Andor? Yeah, it's no fun for you.
Um, I mean, I'm just hoping it's gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there every week. I'm watching it.
I thought
Yeah.
this week's episode. We'll talk about it tomorrow, Tommy. I thought it was the best one, honestly.
I have thoughts on Andor. I've been really enjoying it, but it's we'll see tomorrow what my thoughts are.
Oh,
A
no.
Other
real
than that,
slow burn.
Yeah. I'm like Dooku standing in front of the barn defending the child, and the child is these Star Wars shows, and you guys are the senator and his army coming to shoot down Star Wars.
I was nice about it. I just want more Dooku.
Yeah.
All right, that's the
Yeah.
consensus.
We
Yeah. Eric, you want to tell people where they can find you and whatever else you're up to?
I mean, mostly on. I don't even do that much on Instagram, but my podcasts are currently on Yadis. We'll be back eventually. New Dad, Newer Dad. How you doing? How you doing is on a very long Yadis. But Instagram at the Bearded DJ. Have you guys jumped on the Be Real train yet?
Yeah, I don't like this.
I did. I'm loving it so far.
Okay, so people need to add you on Be Real. Is that I don't even know how it works.
Well,
Do
jump
you
on
have
it. Yeah,
friends on there? Or...
yeah, you add friends, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing.
You know what?
That's
I had it for a day, and it prompted me twice to like take a photo, and both times I'm like sitting at my work desk. I'm like, this is not in like if you're always just going to be like, my life is not that cool. I don't know. Nobody cares what I'm doing.
yeah, like Monday through Friday, like half the time they try and they get you at your desk. Like today was at my desk.
You know,
Sometimes you're doing something fun, but that's the whole point.
imagine having a fun job. Couldn't be me. All right, Tommy. Anything going on with you? No, just
No, I'm just making it my way through Naruto. I'm up to season 2. For those following along in my journey here, this is what you get in my content hour. I am on season 2, episode 76 of the second series, not the first Naruto, the second one. So, big stuff happening there. That's my corner, Tommy's Cartoon Corner. Back to you, Michael.
okay. Well, real quick, because yeah,
I thought
you.
maybe Tommy would plug Yaddle's OnlyFans.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, you saying that made me want to. We're gonna have a quick recommendation segment because I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's incredible. I'm addicted. I'm gonna go play right after this. It's my favorite thing. If you're playing that, message me. We'll link up. Eric, do you have something you want to recommend real quick?
Do I need to buy a PlayStation, or what are you playing on?
Oh, I play on my PC, but I mean it's
Oh, you do?
cross-platform. So. Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe I
I'm
can,
not.
because then it looks like I'm working and I'm not like playing video games.
Exactly.
I'm watching everything I normally watch, and nothing's really doing it for me at the moment. Maybe it's me. Survivor. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah,
that's fun.
But White Lotus just started, so that's always good. We'll see where
Love
that.
White Lotus. Love that first episode.
goes.
Aubrey Plaza, love her. So okay, all right. I will close this out now. I like to remind you guys to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify, preferably 5 stars. I feel like I'm supposed to be checking if anybody has left us a review so I can read it. So let me say that slowly as I pull it up. Oh, no new reviews. Shame on you. You guys didn't do it. Audience failed. Just kidding. Everyone who listens giving it is good. Y'all have been really good with the reviews. So
No, more reviews, or you don't get more of my voices reading them. That's
it's
a real
true.
money maker.
Tommy will
yeah.
read the review in a silly D&D voice. So please drop us a review. It helps the show. Also, please subscribe. We're going to be here every single week and have been twice a week as of late. We will have the Andor recap out tomorrow. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Star Wars Pod. You can check our show notes for our merch. And please ask for our Discord link because we got a little Discord community going on. And we'd love to have you. But that is all we got for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
The first half of that reminded me of like Catholic Mass. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.